Hello world, this is Dalia Ziada, human rights activist, blogger and director of the Liberal Democracy Institute of Egypt. Today I want to speak with you about the relationship between human rights and terrorism. What do you think is the relationship between advancing human rights and fighting terrorism? For me, as someone who has been working in this field for over a decade now, I believe there is no relationship at all. Why? Because human rights and terrorism are two issues that belong to two different spheres. For me, they are like water and oil. They do exist at the same time, but they are not interdependent on each other. Even when we try to put them on each other or mix them with each other, they would not mix because they are very different. Human rights in its essence is an idealist goal, is an international law that we have been pursuing for decades and we have not fully realized yet. While on the other hand, terrorism is a crime that's happening in real life and threatening our existence and requires an immediate action. It's not some idea, it's not something idealistic that's open to argument. This is a crime that's threatening our existence and we have to deal with immediately. So when we do this comparison, I find it funny actually when you put human rights and violent extremism or terrorism on two ends of the same spectrum, assuming that to have more security and more success on fighting terrorism, we have to give up on human rights. Or if we want more of human rights, we have to stop worrying about terrorism and worrying about putting human security first. Of course it's wrong. This relationship is very wrong. Why it's wrong and it's always dangerous? Because by thinking this way, we almost always tend to empower terrorists, or actually over-empower terrorists, while disempower or tie the hands of national states who are trying to fight with those terrorists. Because those national states are now abiding by the human rights law, which they have signed documents to commit to, while terrorists does not have a law, does not have anything to commit to except their own laws, their own rules, which encourages them to kill people. So this is number one. Number two, when we tend to play this spectrum all the time, we end up having or actually breeding this state of polarization that's happening in our world today between those who support security first blindly and those who are supporting human rights first blindly, without actually understanding that we can do both at the same time. We don't have to give up on one of them to get the other. We can do both. We can get both of them. So this state of polarization leads to having us as human beings, as citizens of the same state or whatever, or even citizens of the world, to fight with each other on who is right and who is wrong, rather than unifying us to fight against terrorists. So what is the solution then? How should we deal with the two topics? I should look at terrorism as not a threat to human rights, but as a threat to humans, as a threat to our very existence as human beings. So we need to make sure that we deal with terrorism immediately, to deal with this crime, to give it the proper reaction, without being hindered with some idealist goals and idealist ideas like human rights, which of course I completely support. I am a human rights activist after all, but we should not be blinded by this. Like, if I want security, then no human rights, or if I want human rights, then no security. We have to do both at the same time as two different things, two different activities in our lives. I hope this helps, and I look forward to discussing more with you on this topic on my Twitter or Facebook accounts, or even in the comments under this video. I look forward to hearing from you.